Hello, my brothers and sisters. The gospel we have just heard are opening the 17 verses of the Gospel of Matthew, that whole list of the genealogy of Jesus. And we might wonder why the church includes this gospel reading among all the gospel readings for Advent. Because what it is really, at first glance, it's a list of names. But yet for the evangelist Matthew, this version of Jesus' genealogy is saying something infinitely deeper about our Lord. First and foremost, it highlights his humanity. Jesus had ancestors. He had a family tree, just like all of us have. He didn't come to earth as from another planet. Matthew is also telling us that Jesus was Jewish. He was rooted in a long standing of Jewish tradition. As the opening of the genealogy declares, he was the son of David and the son of Abraham. But then he goes on to say later in Matthew's gospel that he hadn't come to abolish the Jewish law, but to bring it to fulfillment. Matthew's genealogy hints at something else about our Lord. At the very end of that genealogy, we read, Matan, the father of Jacob, and Jacob was the father of Joseph. We would expect, in line with the genealogy, it would conclude, and Jacob was the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary. That's what it says, but we would think it should say Jacob was the father of Jesus. No, we don't hear that. Jacob was the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom Jesus was born, who is called the Christ. Matthew is also hinting at a very mysterious nature of the birth of our Lord. Whereas Mary was the mother of Jesus, the real father of Jesus was God, not Joseph. And then Matthew will soon tell us that Jesus is Emmanuel, God with us. More could be said about the genealogy, but many of those mentioned were anything. They were very flawed. They were not paragons of virtue. Jesus did not descend from a list of saints. Yet God somehow worked through them to give his Son to all the world. There can be flaws in our own family story. There can be flaws in our own personal story. Matthew is reminding us that God can turn even the flaws of our own personal story to not only our ultimate good, but for the good of the entire world. If we open ourselves up to his working in our lives. May we remember, as we prepare to greet many of our family members as we celebrate the Christmas season, may we remember, before we lose patience in some way, what St. Paul says in his letter to the Romans. All things work together for good for those who love God. How can we show that truth today? May God bless you.